Hello, welcome to Bookspin. Today we're looking at The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. And this was published in 2021, and it's the fourth and last book in the Wayfarers series. And once again, we have a new and charming cast of characters, or at least they're mostly new characters, in a new environment with a pretty much self-contained story. So although this rounds off the series, it can be read as a standalone. And once again, we have a very character-focused story with a small but very diverse multicultural group of characters across different alien species. So the basic premise of the story in this book is it takes place on a stopover planet called Goran. And this is considered to be a barren planet with not much in the way of resources, not worthy of settlement, except for the fact that it's ideally situated for a transit and refueling point for spaceships on their way to the next destination. So we have this planet, and on this planet we have a stopover station called the 5 Hop, and this is run by an individual called Olu and her child Tupo, who are members of the Laru species, which is a 4-limbed furry mammal race with a long neck. And the Laru were previously introduced in other books in the series, but only briefly. So the events of this book take place on this stopover station during a planet-wide power outage, during which there is a bit of a crisis and all of the visitors on the planet at this station are grounded. And there's a comms blackout with the outside world, so they have nothing to do but wait. And we have 3 alien travelers who are stranded on this port while they wait for this technical malfunction to pass, and they can be given the all clear to carry on with their journey. So in total, we have 5 characters, the 2 Laru hosts and the 3 alien visitors. And they are forced to spend some time together during this period. There are no human protagonists this time. It's all alien characters, and they all come from very diverse backgrounds, and they all have unique physiologies. So, for example, we have the character Pei, who is the only returning character from the series, and she appeared originally in book 1 as Captain Ashby's romantic interest, and she is an Eluon, which we've seen a few times in the series so far. And the Eluons are a silver-scaled bipedal species, and they are deaf by nature, and they communicate through color rather than sound. And the only way they can communicate with other species is through an artificial voice box. We also have a character called Roveg, who is a Quailin, and it's kind of hard to visualize what the Quailin race looks like in my head, but they're basically described as a form of intelligent arthropods with a hard outer shell and lots of legs. So he's a very sort of jovial character. And finally, we have Speaker, who is the other alien visitor, and she is an Akarak, which is a small 4-limbed species, and she suffers from a genetic disability that limits the use of her legs. So, like the other books in this series, it's a very character-focused story, and we spend a lot of time getting to know these 5 characters and observing their interactions with each other. And it works very well as a character study. It's very well written. Each character is intriguing in their own way, and we get some fascinating glimpses into their various alien cultures and their backgrounds and a little bit about their homeworlds and things like that. So, in that respect, it is quite an interesting novel, but it is pretty thin on plot. Throughout the vast majority of this book, almost nothing happens. It's just a bunch of aliens talking to each other, getting to know each other, learning about their cultural differences, occasionally arguing with each other, but for the most part they get along. And this is what they do while they're waiting for the technical issue to be resolved. So it's quite thin on plot, and in this sense, it's quite similar to Book 3, Record of a Spaceborne Few, but much more so, I think, this time around. There was enough dramatic tension in Book 3, I think, to maintain some sense of some element of suspense and emotional payoff. But I don't think this book really got that when I was reading it. So unfortunately, I would say it's the weakest of the 4 books in the series for me. But that said, it's still an entertaining read. Some of the world building is really creative and interesting, and especially when Becky Chambers discusses the vastly different biologies and the cultures and the life cycles of these different characters. And like I say, each character is charming and unique in their own way. So it's not a bad book. I did enjoy it, but very thin on plot. So I'm going to give this a score of 3 stars. Let me know your thoughts on this book if you've read it and how you would compare it with the other Wayfarers books. I'd love to know what you think. I have read them all now. They're all solid books with consistently excellent characterization and world building. I would say that my favorite, without question, would be the second book, A Closed and Common Orbit. So if you're just going to read one Becky Chambers book, I would highly recommend that one. And it can be read as a standalone, or you could just read books 1 and 2, read it as a follow-up. And if you really enjoy her writing style, continue with the whole series. So that's it for today. I am currently reading The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. I'm really enjoying that one so far. So I'll probably review that soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.